Good afternoon, everyone. So this is a session on assessment reports for employability of students as well as career assessment for executives working in corporates and companies. So we have with us Ms.Harmeet Kaur, who is CEO of Fermata Ventures. She is an alumnus of ISB Hyderabad and University of Delhi, a certified global career counselor from UCLA, master trainer on entrepreneurship, and a certified NLP practitioner with 22 years of experience as an entrepreneur, career counselor, business consultant, trainer, and professor. She brings in knowledge pool of sectors, job roles within those sectors, future career opportunities, and technical, non-technical job expectations. In her own words, he says, I believe a nation's biggest assets are its children and youth. If the nation invests in the asset, the country grows in its true sense. Welcome, ma'am, and thank you for sparing your time. And I request you to take over the session.
Thank you so much, Mr. Suresh. It's my pleasure and honor to be here talking about career guidance, career assessment. I'm happy to share my knowledge, and this is a small knowledge from the vast ocean of careers we see around, and more careers that are going to pan up in 10 years down the line. So as I start, thank you everybody for joining in and sparing your time for yourself, for your knowledge, for your learning, for your growth. As Mr. Suresh mentioned, my organization is a team of career counselors, psychologists, educationalists, industry experts, and we are proud to say that we are a team of happy parents. Why do we need career counseling? How do we need to work towards our career? These would be largely the two topics that we would be talking about in the next 15 to 20 minutes. The focus is on career assessments, a scientific way to do it, and my larger discussion will happen around that area. Now, a quick brief here. When should we look into career guidance, career planning, career counseling? We can start at the school level, and we continue to seek that guidance even when we are working professionals. We are at the starting of our career, we are at the middle level of our career, and we continue to grow. So career discussions for our own selves will continue, and that's the objective, to know how to make them fruitful, how to make it enriching, and how to make it achievable for ourselves. If I may ask you, you are students here and working professionals attending this webinar, the most important decision for you as of now, out of all these 5 parameters, what is the most important decision for you? So as students, you also want to focus, and your parents also want you to focus on your career, a career which should lead to happiness. That's the end objective that you should be able to achieve. And when you start your job, your professional journey, even after 10 years, do you think this will still remain your key objective, the key important decision area? Yes. So along with your family, your own personal goals, your focus will be on career, which will lead you to all these uh, areas of happiness, your goals. So, Mr. Suresh, are we taking any discussion point in between, or we'll keep it for the end?
We'll take it at the end, ma'am.
Okay, sure. So, a thought-provoking question here. How many of us present here actually planned our career? My vote for myself is I never planned. Does it stand for you? Okay. So, given our own Indian tradition or given our culture, largely our careers have been decided by our parents or relatives around. My son should be an engineer, my daughter should be a doctor, my uh, son should be a chartered accountant, my daughter should do law. So largely, or my son should be a IT professional. And then our career decisions have also been influenced by the market conditions. A lot of friends influence, the peer influence has been there. Our own interest would have been an important factor, nothing like it. Our mentors have influenced it all the well, all the good. We have some role models, and those have helped us to decide our careers. So these could be the various um, external bodies or internal thoughts who have from where our career decisions have come. And as we start our professional journey, our decisions have to then consider what path do I need to take? Is it I want to eventually venture out? Do I want to become a domain expert? Do I continue growing on the technical ladder? Or should I take the management way? These are the kind of decision areas which eventually, after 2 3 years of starting one's professional journey, one has to start at least thinking. Now, to look into these aspects, let us look at largely, I would say largely, I look into these two tools. One is a SWOT analysis, and the other is the career assessment tool. Today we are going to talk only about the career assessment tool, which is an external tool for us to look inside. Whereas SWOT analysis is also one of the tools which can be done by ourselves uh, to look at us at our own strengths and weaknesses, a more of an inside to outside approach. So I am going to talk today in detail about the career assessment tool, which is a scientific tool developed by uh, scientists as well as scientists on the science side and the neuroscience side. So a tool has been developed by a physicist and a NLP practitioner, a neuroscientist. Now, why this tool only and how this tool will help us if as students and as working professionals you would have taken or you would be planning to take any kind of assessment for yourself. Now, what that assessment will tell you, there are different tools available. The assessment will give you different sets of reports, whichever tool you choose. Now, I pose you a question here so that to understand this tool better. If let's say, and this is a real life case study that happened in our case with us, uh, a computer science student came to me and said that I want to take up a job as a business analyst. And I said, fine, how do you know that? Do you have those skills? He said, this is my interest area, I want to do it. And with that discussion, with this career discussion, the student agreed to take this career assessment. And interestingly, what happened? I'll show you one sample report. So you see, the student was saying that I want to become a business analyst, but actually his skills were more on the software design and website design, web designing. There are skills which are the report says that the student has skills in teaching as well as documentation. But when we see this red marks, we see that these are the areas which need development, and areas where the student will have to learn more to reach this green level. So as you see, you may be saying that you would like to start your professional journey in so and so area, but do you have the expertise? Do you have your skills, your interest? This test can help you there. Now, we see around when corporate placements happen, many students, because of largely the push, the peer influence they say, okay, though I am coming from an electrical engineering background, but let me take up an IT job. And we see this is happening regularly for many years. But does that IT student has that electrical engineering student has the skill in this area? So the report can help us. For example, I'm showing you first glimpses of different reports, but I will show you the detailed report under each category. Now let's say the electrical engineer student comes and says, I want to take up a career. Now if we see, these are the broad areas, the broad skills and the broad areas in which an electrical engineer can build his or her career. Now for this specific student, the highest skills are designing skills. We see the rating here. Then research skills. We see the problem solving skills are low. The troubleshooting skills are low, very low. Effective communication is again average. Developmental activities is low. Maintenance activities skills are low. Quality management, you see it is insufficient. The skills that are good are planning skills, planning details are very high. Decision making is very good. Process compliance is average. Systematic approach requires improvement. Administrative skills are good. The team player skills are low. Continuous learning, the attitude to learn continuously is very high, and documentation is low. So what are we trying to say here? We are saying that you can find out your core areas within your set of education that you're doing, whether it is electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, computer science, civil engineering, biotech engineering. These are related to your undergrad level of education. Now, if I'll be taking one side where you come and tell me that I am not interested in any of these areas. Though I am pursuing computer science, but I don't want to build my career in this area. I'm going to talk about that. And I'm also going to talk about that, fine, I'm doing this set of education. I have started my professional journey. Now tell me what are the areas where I can excel. So if I take the first question where we are saying that a student is not interested to pursue a career in in any of these streams, mechanical, computer science, civil, whatever undergrad program or even postgrad program you're doing, then the tool helps us in finding out your career at a very basic, at a, I would say basic here means at a very broad level, right from first step, which means the report will first tell you what are the various set of career options you can look into. So a student who took this test and this student who actually came to me and said, I am not at all interested in building a career in computer science engineering, though I am doing that course at my undergrad level. So which means these sets of parameters the student is not interested. So he took up a test where we got a list of overall careers which match his personality. So if you see this student, as per the personality, is good to go into these career streams: tourism, astronomy, exploration, fisheries, geology, hotel management, language teaching, and a bigger list which shows these sets of areas: marketing, call center, public speaking, training, concept selling, technical support, statistics. All these areas are being shown. Why are we able to look at these areas? Because the report first talks about the competencies in which a personality is good at. Now, what do we mean by competencies? Competencies are, there are 250 competencies which are defined in the corporate world. And when you start your corporate journey, your profile and your growth will be evaluated based on those competencies. So that's why we are using this terminology in our reports. So the student is having these, is good at these competencies. And if we see the details, the democratic values, it's written and it provides an explanation. Visual processing is another competency. Exploration is third. Collaboration, curriculum planning and scheduling, coaching and mentoring, client interface, customer focus, navigating, democratic decisions. So you see the report first lists down all the competencies in which a personality is good at. And further, so this is the 10 best competencies, and we get a further list of next 10 best competencies. So based on the competencies in which a personality is good at, we get a list of career options. Now, what happens when when a working professional comes to us? Then these competencies are further mapped into areas of development or areas of taking higher order rules. If we look at this report of a working professional, we see what does this report indicate, and details of each of these competencies is provided. So we see that if someone is wanting to take up a team leader role, in this case, should he or she take that role or not? Or has been given that role, then what are the areas that this person should work on for his or her own development? So these, if we see these areas, if the person has been made a team leader and we actually see that the interpersonal skills are low, then one should get trained on, coached on that. So this helps us in knowing what are my strong areas and what are my weak areas. I would here take one report in detail, and we will be able to understand from a student perspective as well as the details which this report provides from a working professional point of view as well. Now, as I said that this student, a computer science student, is strong in software design, web designing. Now, what are the competencies in which the student is the high order competencies for this student? You see the design skills are high, research analysis is low, problem solving is fair, and you look at these grading. The report also provides what are my strengths. So when I say, if while doing your SWOT analysis, what are your 10 best skills, can you do that? So these are, this report also comes in handy. So one is that you can use this report to know yourself better, as well as to build your own profile, your own CV when you are applying, when you start applying for jobs. These competencies listed under each profile is the terminology that the corporates understand very well. The job market, the recruiters understand it very well, and they are able to understand your CV better. So, in one last part, I would like to talk about before we take questions. The basic career assessment report also lists down the careers to be avoided. You see here, this person is good at client interface roles, but is not good at, should not, ideally we recommend the person should not be taking these kinds of job roles. And in thousands of reports that we have seen, uh, largely there has been a match towards the careers that a student would like to choose from than the careers to be avoided. But yes, there has been exceptions where students or working professionals, in fact, who have come to us and they have been working in this bracket, but it falls under in the category of careers to be avoided. And this we deal it on a case-to-case basis. So I think I will stop for some time here and would like to first take questions. And if I need to discuss more, I will do that.
Yeah, hello. This is Usha Mohan here. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Ms. Usha.
Okay, I was just following what you were saying. I have a couple of questions at this stage.
Sure.
Is this applicable to a person who is already in a job, and till what levels of experience is this applicable?
Yeah, absolutely. When I talk about working professionals and the competency mapping, this report is applicable at, for an age bracket. Let's say when a person starts the career at, probably joins a job at 23 or 24, right? If he or she has done post graduation, to even 45. We have worked with professionals who are at the age of 35, and they have come to us saying that I'm not happy. I need to know which are my strong areas of development, or strong areas where I should span my career. Now, how this report will help, right? See, already there has been a lot of experience taken. A particular domain a person has been working in, right? So how do we help is, the report will help in finding out the competencies and matching it most likely in that particular domain where the person has been working. changing a domain is difficult, and we also don't recommend unless and until there is no option available. I'll actually give you one example here. A 35-year-old professional came to me working in the finance domain right from beginning, and but he said he's not growing in his career. His interest is also not there. Now, after a session on career and with a report of this kind, I guided him to look into the social venture side of businesses, working in the social venture funds or social venture businesses, where that matches with his personality as well as he maintains his domain expertise. So I hope I'm able to answer that question.
Yes, absolutely. Which brings me to my next question. I hope I
Sure.
can ask you the next question.
Yes.
See, I'm still not very clear. What kind of questions are asked as part
Hmm.
of your assessment to get this report? So, if you can throw some light on any specific aspect like creativity, can you show a typical questions which the person will answer, based on which you make an assessment? The second thing is you introduce personality. I mean, initially there was no talk of personality. But then after that, you have not actually elaborated how personality plays a role in the assessment, or is that also part of the assessment? That is, do you make an assessment of a person's personality also? So there again, if you ask certain questions, what are these questions? Just give us an idea of what they are.
Okay, so see, the questions are based on a person's habits, behaviors, largely. For example, I can give you one or two examples here. Do you work with your left hand or right hand? If you have to pick up an object, how will you do that? So this is multiple choice questions, right? Objective questions, and answers. If let's say two answers are there and both the answers resonate with you, but there'll be one answer which will dominate more with your personality. So there's an automatic system that you cannot select both the answers. The choices are not possible. I'm connecting that to the personality because here our personality means anybody who is wanting to know oneself more. And that is how do you want to know yourself more is you know it through your interests, through your habits, through your behavior, through your aptitudes, right? So this report is relevant if I take a test at the age of 15. My report largely will not change even at the age of 45 because the report has been based on habits and behaviors and which largely remain the same unless and until a drastic change has happened in the environment where I'm staying or where I'm learning, where I'm growing. Does that answer that part?
I'm not very clear, but maybe what you are saying is rooted in the concepts of NLP or whatever you were trying to tell in the initial stages.
Right.
But then people do undergo personality changes. I mean, I think that is something you cannot rule out. And in a positive way or in a negative way, depending upon the environment in which they are put. So I will not say that a 15-year-old's scores will still be valid at 40. I mean, people can change a lot depending upon the exposure they have. And I'm an experienced professional, and my questions come from having dealt with a lot of teams. So my interest is actually, if I were to recruit someone, I would like to really assess the person's potential rather than be going with his resume, his or her resume. So that's my interest, why I'm listening.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't know how you will make a decision that you should go into finance or you should go into programming. I would like actually to, at a slightly higher level, look for some very core capability which is not skill based, but it is over and beyond skills. That is, computer science or programming is a skill, or ability to work in a finance domain, like in banking, is a skill which either you acquire it as part of your academic qualification or as part of your work experience. because you're put into a programming job, or you're put into a bank where you handle finances and you look at appraisal of project plans, and so you build your skill. That's based very much on your what you acquire as part of your academic, as well as then what you get in the job. But I think today what I'm struggling with, in at least with my teens, is an ability to think creatively, an ability to work in a team, and an ability to communicate well. These are core, I would call, as maybe it is hinges on the personality in your classification. These skills are something which no resume tells you, and it is needed in every avenue of work, whether I'm looking at a person who is on the counter in a bank, or a person who is doing programming and not at all talking to customers, but he's at the back end. Nevertheless, I think these three, in my mind, are core skills. Do you have in your assessment tool a way by which you can confidently measure these aspects and say that this person's rating category is so and so?
Yes, Ms. Usha, I have not opened that report as of now, but I can for sure share it with you later. So in that case, I 100% agree. When in fact in one of the report, when I said a person has an attitude for continuous learning, right? As we see the times are changing, we need more of these sets of people in our teams than a one person coming with a specific domain expertise and says, I would like to stick to that. So when I said competencies, we have a report which tests a person from A to Z of all those competencies, and can easily tell you that in an area of creativity, what is the rating of this person, to an area of critical thinking, to an area of decision making, to an area of stress management. So we have a list of competencies, and that report, the assessment can tell you the grading under each competency.
Okay. How long does this test last? I mean, if a person has to
30 minutes test with 60 questions.
That's it?
Yes.
And you can get all this analysis out of that?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So even in fact, for let's say an MBA students, the report is being used when the first year MBA students have to make a choice between HR, marketing, and finance. So there, this report comes handy, which tells the specific ability of a student to should a student take HR or marketing or finance. So we can map that kind of competency there as well. So it helps in, see, I mean, since you have been working with teams, you would understand these reports are support documents which provide us insights to question more, to understand more a person or a student when you are recruiting, or when a student has to make a choice.
Right.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, no report is 100%, that I agree. But
Yeah.
it should be reasonably accurate, because
Absolutely.
see, when it's a newcomer into the team, we don't know them well enough to make an assessment. So we would look at some tests which will give us a reasonably good idea of where the person is.
Absolutely.
Thank
you for your input.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am, may I add some points here?
Sure.
Yeah, Usha, to add to whatever Ms.Harmeet has told, it's not only about the entrance level and the experienced people. We have reports for sales force, sales executives, and even for leadership roles, we have tests that can tell how the leadership in different aspects are looking like. So this is the beauty of the tool. It has been designed for various segments of people, and within engineering stream, different engineering streams are covered. So, we keep receiving resumes from our relatives that I am looking for a job and all. So the first thing we do is let us see where you fit in, and then suggest them that this is the type of job you should look for, rather than blindly going by the market or the friends, the influence and all that. Ma'am, we have 2 minutes time. We need to wind it up because it's a hard stop for 40 minutes.
Yeah, sure. So anybody else would like to ask something?
Yeah,
So idea of, yeah, sure.
you can go ahead, ma'am.
Idea of today's session has been to keep exploring yourself. We can do that by some tools. Different tools are available. We can do that with our peers, with our family, or we can look into this scientific tool as well, where uh, we can start with making informed career decisions. Career options are many. Uh, the list is huge. The report helps us in understanding that. Job roles are many. The tool helps in bringing in the specific strengths within a job category, I would say. As Mr. Suresh mentioned, if you want to know within your sales team who can open a sales and who is good at closing the sales, the report can help in that part as well. So knowing your strong areas, understanding the areas of improvement where you would like to be trained, where you like to be mentored, that's the key objective of this session today. We would love to listen from you more, to know from you more, address your questions, and we are available for any personal career discussion that you would like to take with us. Thank you so much for attending the webinar. Thank you, Mr. Suresh, for giving me this opportunity as the CSI.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for
From
your time. Thanks for your effort and sharing the valuable reports. I think people will really get benefit out of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, madam, for the